This video tutorial is all about the organisation of the mammalian nervous system. You need to know about the structural organisation of the nervous system, specifically into the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. You also need to know the functional organisation into the somatic and the autonomic nervous systems. So first of all, the central nervous system. The central nervous system is made up of the brain and the spinal cord. Where the brain is largely grey in colour, it's grey matter, because the relay neurons within it are largely unmyelinated. In comparison, the spinal cord is largely white matter. Although it does contain unmyelinated relay neurons, it also contains myelinated neurons, giving it that white coloration. So we've got the central nervous system and we've also got the peripheral nervous system. The peripheral nervous system is composed of sensory and motor neurons, bundled together in collective tissue to form nerves. The sensory neurons conduct action potentials from the sensory receptors and pass those action potentials along to the central nervous system, so the brain and spinal cord. The motor neurons conduct action potentials from the central nervous system to the effectors. On the left-hand side of the slide in front of you, you can kind of see a schematic diagram summarising our sort of organisation of our nervous system. So in orange, you've got the brain and spinal cord, obviously making up our central nervous system. And then you've got the two main branches of the peripheral nervous system, the autonomic and the somatic. So the somatic nervous system includes all the motor neurons that are involved under sort of voluntary control. So that's all our skeletal muscles. They are myelinated largely for speed. And so that will be things like, if you want to pick up your cup of tea or whatever it is, you want to stand up from your chair, you are in control of your skeletal muscles. That is somatic nervous system. In comparison, the autonomic nervous system, here the motor neurons are not under voluntary control. So these motor neurons will be controlling your glands, the cardiac muscle, so the heart, smooth muscle in the blood vessels, your airways, and your digestive system. The nerves in the autonomic nervous system are largely non-myelinated, and as I say, they are not under voluntary control. The autonomic nervous system is then further divided by function into the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems. Generally, if the outcome increases activity, it involves the sympathetic nervous system. So, for example, an increase in heart rate. Whereas if the outcome decreases activity, it involves the parasympathetic nervous system. So that would be like a decrease in heart rate. So here we can just see that kind of summarized again. So we've got the parasympathetic on the left-hand side. Largely, this is all about decreasing activity, conserving energy. And the parasympathetic system is largely active during sleep or relaxation. So we've got decreasing heart rate, constricting pupils, reducing ventilation rates, increasing digestive activity. Whereas in the sympathetic system, we're increasing activity. And this is all about preparing the body for activity. So it's most active at times of stress and will include increasing the heart rate, dilating the pupils, increasing ventilation, and reducing things that don't need to happen in times of stress, like digestive activity. Just to finish, I've included a past paper question. So it says, describe whether the following reflexes are controlled by the sympathetic or parasympathetic nervous system. I'm going to give you a moment just to have a little think about A, B, C, D, and E, sympathetic or parasympathetic. You can pause if you'd like any longer. I'm going to go through the answers now. So A is the sympathetic nervous system, likewise with B, sympathetic. C is parasympathetic. D is sympathetic. and E is parasympathetic.